Hey guys, welcome to my DVD collection video where I talk about my favorite 1970s horror films. There's probably going to be another volume to this, because I had a difficult time figuring out exactly the best ones and which ones. Some of them would fit more in foreign horror films, so it was getting me just a little confused, like the best way to present this and the best ones to pick. But there'll probably be a second volume, like I said, because I had a really difficult time picking the best ones, and a lot of them I thought were 70s were actually 1980. So it was like some of them that I didn't show in my favorite 80s, I wish I would have shown because I can't show them in this one. So I'll probably have to do a second favorite 80s ones. But watch over some of the other ones I've done, because I've I feel like I've talked about every movie I own. I think at one point I'm going to, like after I've done all these. The first one I picked though is the original Halloween. Now, I liked Rob Zombie's new version of Halloween, but I think the best thing about the original, about the new one, was the new backstory with Mike Myers as a kid. I thought that sequence and the stuff in the mental institution, that was interesting. But then when it got to when it was remaking the original, I didn't think it was as good. I thought I don't know, I didn't care for it, and I didn't like the end, that scene with her, that scout, Jamie Lee Curtis's character in that duct thing and that pole, and I don't know, I just didn't care for that ending, and I like the original ending a lot better, the one that's on the second disc of the DVD, the director's cut ending, or whatever you'd call it. I think that was the stronger ending. But the original is a classic, and it's, the fact that they're remaking things like this is just kind of weird, and I didn't really watch too many of the sequels. I saw that really stupid one with the hidden cameras, or that game show with Busta Rhymes, I think that was Halloween Resurrection, and I watched the fifth, or one of the later ones with Jamie Lee Curtis when she came back. My favorite sequel though is the one that everyone dislikes, and Halloween 3. I just think it's a good movie, and people should just look at it more as a movie rather than a sequel, because it really should just be called Season of the Witch. The next one I picked is a really hard to find one. It was a TV film, and it's definitely one of the top 70s movies, 70s horror films, that you just have to try and find it. And you can usually find it at horror conventions and probably online, and hopefully at some point there'll be a DVD of this. I just don't know who owns the rights to it. And it's Bad Ronald. It's a 1974 TV film about this weird kid that sort of accidentally kills this girl, and his mother hides him in the wall of his house, and and he never can leave the house, because if the police see him, he'll be put in jail. So he's continuously hiding in this house, and at one point his mother leaves the house because she's really sick, and she puts this food in the fridge and says, "Here's this stuff, this will last you for a week or two while I'm gone." Well, she never ends up coming home, and you find out she died. I'm not giving anything away. She dies, and then a new group of these people come in, and that's when the movie really begins, with this crazy kid in the wall, and the people who move in think they hear these sounds, and it's him screwing around. Definitely, I love this movie, and if you can find it, watch it. Another one, it's got a similar quality to it. It's another 70s one that I've always liked, and I found a copy. The first time I saw this, my parents taped a lot of old 80s tapes, and I was just looking through old VHS tapes of things, and I found the one, and it just said Crawlspace, and I didn't know what it was, and I think I looked it up on my database and thought it was that Klaus Kinski one, which I have too, but it's the 70s one, which just came on DVD, I think in October, from Wild Eye Pictures releasing company, and it's the Crawlspace, the 1974 film. I think it's 74, or it might have been 71. And it says from the director of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which I don't think I watched, but it's this movie about this old couple living in this house alone, and they're kind of lonely and never had kids, and this guy comes in to work on the pipes in the basement or something, and then this couple starts hearing noises in the basement for the next couple of nights, and you find out that the workman has been living in the crawl space of the basement, and this family these two feel bad for him and let him in the house and make him dinner and give him these books, and he's reading them, and it's really a weird movie. Definitely check this one out, and you can get it really cheap. I don't think it's available in stores. At least I haven't seen it in many stores. You can get it online, though. And another one, there's a lot of good TV movies of the 70s. Another one I think was a TV movie as well. And I saw this recently called Trilogy of Terror. It's about that killer, like voodoo doll. There's 3 stories. I never remember what the 2 other ones, but I always remember the doll. And, this is a classic one. And they made a sequel to it. And I never watched it. I don't know if it was any good or not. It was made, I think, in the late 80s or early 90s. And the next one, has been, of course, remade. And I think this is the best one. The remake, the guys at Dead Pit said it was terrible. And I agree. It really wasn't very good, the Texas Chainsaw remake. I'm sure, it's fine. Things about it are fine. But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, now that's the classic version. And that's the one to go out of your way to watch and commemorate and talk about. Don't talk about the remake. That's why I hate is when people go crazy about the remakes. It's like the original is the good movie. If they're remaking it, it's because it was a good movie and they're trying to cash in on it. That's the only point of a remake. And sometimes remakes work if they have more money and they can do things they didn't get to do before. Like the remake they're doing of Troll is going to be a huge, big budget movie with big actors and tons of money for effects. The thing is, though, that might kill the movie, because the beauty of Troll, the original Troll, if you know, was the cheesiness and the campiness and the fun, and people like Sonny Bono in it, and it was funny. And the thing is, sometimes when you have money and you remake a classic film, like something from the 70s, you kind of ruin what the movie is by putting all this money into it. And the worst thing you can do with remakes is cast really dumb, like TV actor stars of like The O.C. or One Tree Hill or one of those kind of things. Don't use people like that. Use new people or use really good actors. Don't use people that do not have the ability to act. And they just bring down the movie. The next one is another TV movie. I'm going through the TV movies first. And this one's another one you can get a bootleg of. It's called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. It's about this sort of like retarded guy. And he gets blamed for killing this girl. And it was actually these... You see that it was like these 2 guys shot her by mistake, I believe. And like the Scarecrow sort of... I remember it was coming to life. I don't remember the whole plot. But I just remember that it was one that I really liked. And I got this a few years ago at Horrifying. The next one is called Let's Scare Jessica to Death. It's another really good one. It has that kind of... one that I forgot to pick up that was really good was the Changeling. And I couldn't figure out where I put that. That was one that was about... It was like... there was a scene in it with a well. And if you see the scene with the well and the way they're digging to get to the well... The movie The Ring really like sort of copied the way that scene went. If you've seen it, and I'm sure you know what I mean. But this was one about this sort of girl that was sort of mentally unstable, and people in the town were sort of screwing with her and trying to make her nuts. And I don't remember everything, but I remember really liking it. The next one is called Daughters of Darkness, and this is sort of like you would say an adult horror film. About this married couple that stays in this hotel, and there's these 2, I guess the lesbian vampires. They did a lot of movies like that during the 70s. This is the best one, though. And they were at this really nice hotel, and they're kind of like enticing this married couple. And I don't want to ruin the whole movie, but it's really a good movie. And the music, everything about this was really well done. But it's not easy to explain. The next one is kind of a... Last House on the Left. During the 70s, they did so many movies that were similar to Last House on the Left, like 2 people kidnap these girls, and it's you know the story of Last House on the Left, but they made a lot. And one of the really interesting ones was Night Train Murders, about these girls who go and take the night train. I think they take it home from college, and the thought of like late night through midnight trains are kind of freaky on their own because there's probably weird people on them. And there's like this, like I think they were escaped convicts or something that were like, I don't know, bothering these girls, and they end up killing one. And it's definitely, I really like this, but you can't really, some of these are not really easy to explain. And the next one is, of course, one you cannot not say, and I've said it a million times, and it is one of the best 70s films. It's George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And the first, Night of the Living Dead was the 60s. This was the 70s. Day of the Dead was the 80s. And then Land of the Dead was 2000. Dire of the Dead was 2000. And Dawn of the Dead, though, is the one... I don't know. The one thing I really like about it is like one of my favorite aspects of it is that it shows so many things of the 70s, like the mall, and it's just little details that I always love. Like if you look on the store, it says closed Sundays. It's just little details like that that I love. And so it's about this people that go and hide out in the mall to hide from the zombies, and I love movies that are in malls. And if anyone can think of any weird ones that I haven't seen or spoken of that are filmed in or take place all in a mall. I don't know. I just love movies in malls, especially 70s and 80s malls. I don't like current malls at all. I like when I find like the malls I love to go to, they're all like being torn down and destroyed or remodeled now. But I love the 80s and 70s looks. The next one is called Tourist Trap, and it's kind of like it was like one of those traps, like the biggest bowl of string. And this guy who, captures people or just lures them in. And I don't know if he kills them and does something with them. I don't remember, but I remember really liking this. And this is from Full Moon Entertainment released this. They didn't make it though. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this is the 70s. I might be wrong though, but I really am pretty sure though. The next one is called Shockwaves, and it's 1976, and it's from Blue Underground. It's about like this group of these. They were on a boat, and they like pull into this island, and they do something that brings back these like Nazi zombies. And the zombies in this movie are so cool, the way they're designed. And I think they've made toys of them at some point, and they've used them in some other movie or something with similar looks to it. But this is definitely one you should check out. I don't know if it's easy to find anymore though. The next one is the first Phantasm film. It's about the kid who expects something weird's going on at this funeral home and goes in there and investigates, and there are these like little weird creature things in that ball, and you know that movie. Some of these movies you don't even have to explain, you just know. I've never seen the second one. I've seen the third one, and I have not seen the fourth one. I'm waiting for the second one to finally come to DVD, and then I'll see it. And people have said that it's really good though, and I don't. Apparently though, I think that was the one that the kid wasn't in, but he was in the third one, the one who was the kid in the first one. The next one is Last House on the Left, and this movie now has become, they talk about it more, but when I was first watching it, it wasn't like considered like, ooh, Last House on the Left like it was, but this really is a cool movie, and David Hess is who makes this movie. Everything he's done I've loved, and I hope in the remake they put him in it. I think that he deserves to be in it as at least the father or the sheriff or something, because he really gets shit on sometimes with these things, and he is a good actor, and he really can be scary and menacing, and he's done a really good job at these things. And Last House on the Left, about those girls getting kidnapped and raped by this group of these like hooligans, and it's a real 70s. You can tell. It's just everything about it screams like the war, like it took place during the time Vietnam was. You could just feel all that with this movie, and Wes Craven did such an amazing job with this, and it was so scary the way it was filmed, and the quality to it is going to shit nowadays, but it looks so cool the way it looks. And what sucks is this is getting remade, like I was saying, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But the thing is, it's going to probably end up having to be cut down because they can't get as extreme with it as they could in the 70s, and it's going to be kind of watered down, and I'm sure it's not going to be as scary anymore or have all the qualities that the original did. I don't know. I just don't know why everything has to get remade. The next one has been remade, of course, and the new Scary Movie is apparently going to be spoofing the remake of this. It's the original Hills Have Eyes with Michael Berryman, D. Wallace Stone, and this is one of my favorite movies of all time, at least in the top 50 list, about this group of people that go out on a vacation. They take a shortcut through the mountains, or the desert, and then they break down. They don't break down. They kind of, the people in the hills put something down, like that spikes in the road to stop their car, and they crash, and the one has to go and get gas, and you know the story of it. Or if you haven't, just watch this. Or you can even, for most of these too, you can watch the trailers for them on YouTube. And I don't know. I like the remake for this was okay. I didn't the first one. Not the second, the sequel to the remake. The first remake I thought was pretty good. I thought it was decent, and I had nothing against it. I thought it was alright, but it can't compete to the original one. But the sequel, I just did not like the sequel. It was silly. The effects were terrible. They weren't terrible. They were like Sloth from the Goonies or something. They didn't make any sense. And the movie was all hammed up to a bad degree. It just was not any good. Another one that I don't think anyone's really seen, and hopefully there's going to be an uncut DVD and not one with something like with the DVD. The whole time during the movie, especially in the dark scenes, you can see some kind of a print on the screen like it says Cage Terror the whole movie, and it's the movie, and it's Cage Terror about this couple. It's another one of the Last House on the Left kind of movies. This couple that goes out into the woods, and these guys that can sing really well, and they sing these great songs, and I liked them so much I made took the music from the movie and put them on a CD to listen to them on the iPod and stuff. I really liked this music in this movie, but it's another one, and I got this at Walmart of all places a few years ago, and I have not seen the DVD online or anywhere since. But if you can find it, get it. It's really good. And the next one is the Jeff Lieberman film, Blue Sunshine. And this is there's one that Elvira put out, but the picture quality isn't as good. This is the best DVD with the best picture. And it's about these people in the 70s, I think the 60s, who did these LSD drugs, and something they were having their years later, all their hair was falling out, and they were going crazy and becoming these murderers. And the sequences at the end in the mall, they filmed it in a J.C. Penney kind of store with the mirrors on the wall, are amazing. I mean, this movie and the music to this movie, everything this director has done, I've liked. I've loved Squirm. I really liked that Just Before Dawn. I like the new one he did, and really look forward to whatever he does next, and hopefully he's going to keep making movies, because he came back with Satan's Little Helper, which is the movie that starred that kid from Palindromes. The next one is Dario Argento's Suspiria. It's about this girl who goes to a ballet school, and it's run by these witches, and it's so creepy, and it's the first time I remembered when I first saw this, I was so creeped out by it. And it's not as creepy the second viewing, but the first viewing, it is so creepy. And this is the limited edition version from Anchor Bay from 2001. I think there's a new one out, but I don't think it has all that this one does. I mean, this one has all these, still pictures from the movie, all this stuff, and this big booklet. The Anchor Bay DVDs, I don't think they do as much anymore. Used to have really cool packaging. But I think since Fox is doing it, they don't do as much. And it had the movie, a documentary, 25th anniversary documentary, and the soundtrack, which is, if you can find this version, it's a really good deal, because the soundtrack is really worth the money too. It's a really good soundtrack. And it's all the songs, not like some of the compilations that Goblin has out don't have all the songs from this. And the next one, just about finished here, the next one is, and this was made in 1979. It was almost too late to be talked about, and it's Zombie. And this is, it's out with two titles. Sometimes you see it with Zombie 2, spelled Zombi 2. They're both the same movie, and this is about these people who go to this island, and there's these zombies here, and there's this creepy scene with this thing in this eye. I've talked about this before though in the other one, but just watch this one. This one I've not spoken of, and I've been wanting to for a while, and it never really fit into any of the categories. And I'm guessing it fits in this category, but I'm talking about it anyway. Even if it doesn't. And it's the Phantom of the Paradise. And this, for some reason, this character always reminds me of Marilyn Manson, and I think Marilyn Manson might have gotten some of his characteristics from the character in this, like the voice and the look and the way his face is painted up, especially his newest look. I mean, it really looks like him, Marilyn Manson. I think he got his look from this. It's about this guy who's I don't know if he was electrocuted or something happened to him. He was a performer, and then he kind of went crazy because he lost his voice, and he took over the opera house and was sort of like the Phantom and screwing around and flying around and like in the upstairs places and screwing around with things. And it's a Brian De Palma film. It's my favorite movie he's done. I never really looked at the reviews of it, and I'm pretty sure most people like it, but I found it in the $5 bin a couple of years ago. If you can find it in that it's really good for that price. And that was pretty much all the 70s horror films for this one. Like I said, there'll probably be a part 2 to this at some point, but I really wanted to put one up because I talked about saying I was going to do this. So these are some of my top favorite 70s ones. And soon I'm going to do I'm still going to do the top 90s horror films because I haven't done that one yet. But thanks again for everyone who subscribed and for watching, and have a good day, night, evening, or afternoon.